Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. Just in case you haven't noticed, I'm just a little teeny tiny bit excited about a box I received from Onewind Outdoors. I ordered a whole hammock camping setup. Today I'm going to unbox it and let you see everything I got. Over the past couple years, I've posted all kinds of wild camping videos, and almost all of them involve hammock camping. And I've posted a couple other videos about the OSNI gear and the Helicon Tex Swagman roll and a bunch of other individual elements. And almost every single one of those videos, in the comments, someone will ask me if I knew anything about Onewind Outdoors products. And I didn't. And they would specifically point out one or two key items, like the top quilt when I did the Helicon Tex Swagman roll, and was mentioning a lot of similarities. Well, I looked into it, yeah, well, you know, I got these other things going on. Well, not too long ago, a few weeks ago, Onewind Outdoors emailed me and say, hey, we love your videos. Everyone that contacts me says, oh, they love my videos. Okay, they want me to be an affiliate, and they wanted to send me this free item for me to, under their terms and conditions, mind you, produce a review video on them. And of course, I don't do that. I don't do things the way they want me to do. And that's what got me in trouble in school a lot. I just didn't like doing the things that I needed to get done the way they wanted me to do it. Well, anyway, I told them, you know, no, I'm not doing that. However, I got on their website. They were having a few sales, and I started looking at some of the items, started reading much more in depth about them, and before you knew it, I had a huge number of items in my shopping cart. All of them accessories and specific items for hammock camping. And so I went ahead and I took the plunge, and I pushed order, and I just got it. Now, everything I ordered was for the summer months, the warm weather months. Now, right now, it's early July when I'm filming this. However, I've still got the rest of July, August, and September to where in my neck of the woods, it's really, really warm. So everything I order is going to serve me very well for the next 2.5 months, possibly early into October. So I'm going to be putting this thing to use. If any of this stuff is half as good as what people have told me it was in the comments, if it meets the praise that they've given them, I will have gotten one heck of a deal. Let's get to opening that box. Okay, folks, let's do this thing. The shipment arrived in 2 packages. This one arrived a little later. I believe this was shipped directly from China, and this one was probably shipped from someplace more local, maybe even California. This arrived much quicker than the rest of the order. Now, I ordered a complete hammock setup, everything I needed. And I also ordered a bunch of the accessories. Some of the accessories really intrigued me because they were pretty unique. I've not seen a whole lot of that stuff. So, we'll go ahead and open this up. Got a whole bunch of personal flotation devices. I'm going to set those off to the side. That's about half of this box. Now, first thing we have here is, and it's not labeled. Okay, this is the Onewind under quilt. Hammock under quilt. We'll take all this stuff out of the packaging here in just a minute. This is the Onewind hammock tarp. This looks like it's a sleeve or snakeskin of some type. This is a top quilt. A hammock net. A hammock net, yes. Ooh, let's see. A mini tarp reel. This is one of the things I was really intrigued about. It's either going to be complete junk, or if it's not, it's going to be one of the most ingenious little devices I've seen for hammock camping in a while. A couple more little small items. Invoice. This is a tarp sleeve, and this is a storage hammock. I'm going to get this out of the way. Put these over here. Let's see what's in that bag. Okay. What I feel so manly and strong, change the bag. Okay. We have a compression sack. These are a couple of the things that were accessories that I was really intrigued with. Another compression sack. Can't tell. Oh, I got a bunch of little tent stake bags too. This is shock cord sack. And another shock cord sack. Another shock cord sack. And a flyer. I'm going to get all the wrappers off of this, and we're going to lay out everything on a poncho liner, and we're going to take a little closer look at them. This is the complete order. I had a top quilt and bottom quilt. I had a tarp and a hammock. For the tarp, I purchased a tarp sleeve. It's like a snake skin. I've never tried one of those with a tarp before. I used to have one with my DD hammock. It worked great. And I have one for the hammock. Hammock comes with some shock cord, a couple tent stakes, looks like a repair kit, and a couple of pulls for the zippers. These are two items that really intrigued me when I saw them. This is a gear loft hammock. You can sling it by itself, you know, off the side, or you can sling it underneath your hammock or above your hammock to put your stuff in it. And then there's a little teeny tiny one that you put at the peak of your hammock to store your cell phone, keys, you know, what have you. I purchased 3 of the large stuff sacks, 3 of the medium stuff sacks, and 6 of the small tent peg bags, which I'm all about sub-compartmentalizing everything in my kit. So those are going to find a place for all kinds of things. The bags that everything was shipped in, those in themselves are made of pretty good quality, and I can reuse these for all kinds of things. So even though these are supposed to go in the trash, ain't doing it. And I got a wonderful free gift of 2 miniature carabiners. Let's take a closer look at each item, and this is going to be a real quick show and tell type of thing. I'm going to be doing a video on individual components. I might do the hammock and the tarp in one video. I might do the top and bottom quilt in another video. I might do the accessories in another video. But in that video, I'm going to be demonstrating how to set it up, how to use them, give all the specs, all that information. That video will be coming shortly. Once I have, you know, completed this video, then I can start playing with the stuff, using it myself, figuring it out to see if there's any particular unique, properties about each individual item that I need to know that might be a little different from the other hammock camping stuff that I already own and use. So this is the layout. Let's take a look at the individual items. Now, as we're going through these items, keep in mind, I'm clueless about any of these products. I literally opened the box in front of you. So we're going to go through this and explore it together. Hopefully we'll both be very pleasantly surprised with what we see. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the top quilt and the bottom quilt. And since they are not labeled, I do not know which one is which. It appears that one has a drawstring opening on both sides and one does not. We'll start with the one that does not first. Now, from the images online, the bottom quilt is rectangular and the top quilt almost looks like a mummy style bag, at least from my memory of the images online. Both of these products are made with DuPont Sorona insulation. Don't know anything about it. And this might be the bottom quilt. Everything is super lightweight. I know that a lot of the items are mentioned to be sil nylon, and sil nylon is very tough for as thin as it is, and it's super lightweight. See, yeah, this definitely looks rectangular to me. There is a snap here, plastic, well, yeah, it's plastic snap. Bio-based fibers. I still don't see a label as to what it is. Oh, we have a nice little area here. This looks to me like it would be a toe box. Which, if it's the bottom quilt, that would be very interesting. There's a draw cord down here at the bottom, and there is not a draw cord at the top. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 snaps here, and a draw strap here. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. About halfway down, there are snaps that go across, and there's an opening. That might be for a poncho style insulation that you can wear around camp. That looks like it could be. Let's take a look at the other one real quick and see if there's an obvious difference between the top quilt and the bottom quilt. Okay, this has got to be the bottom quilt. Both of these items have a very, very soft black interior, and the exterior is very soft too. I ordered everything in olive drab. There were a couple other items that I was going to order. However, they did not have that in a coyote brown or an olive green. They had like a forest green or a couple other colors or black. Not into that. Coyote and forest would be great. Yes, this is the bottom quilt. There are a lot of, looks like attachment points, snaps, and D-rings all the way down. There's a shock cord that goes all the way down both sides. Each little area that's open has a cord lock. So once you're in, you have everything snapped into place. You will definitely be able to snug that around. So there's the top quilt, there's the bottom quilt. This is going to be a lot of fun to play with. Let's go on to the next thing. But before we do, show you this stuff sack, which I think is pretty intriguing. There is a draw cord on both sides. Now, for whatever reason, if you put something else inside the stuff sack with The bottom quilt, that's what was in here. You'd be able to access it if it was at the bottom without pulling the whole thing out, which might be interesting. And the other interesting thing about this is once you have your top quilt and bottom quilt into position, you have a nice little storage bag that you could hang and store other things in. So you'd be able to hang this and be able to access either side. Could be your socks, you know, whatever, something you'd want to keep handy, and just put that right along your ridge line or something. Now let's get to the next thing. Now the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to take a look at the hammock and the tarp. Now I know I'm pulling this stuff out of the bag and just holding it up. You don't have a very good feel for what it's going to look like. Don't worry about it, because as soon as I pull this stuff out and take a look at it myself, show you what I see, I'm going to go set the stuff up, and then I'll bring you back after I do, so you can see what everything looks like when it's deployed. Take a look at the hammock first. The hammock also comes with one of those double-sided opening bags. On this side I can tell that the hammock straps are in here, the buckles hang in here. So we'll go ahead and pull out, normally, a little common sense would tell me, is to go ahead and pull out the hammock straps first. And those look pretty heavy duty. Would have been nice if they would have had green on there instead of blue, but hey, you know, I'm picky. You know, just that kind of guy. And now this, I believe, is an 11-foot single hammock. And let's get the buckle out of that. So this is separate. I would definitely go ahead and probably run my hammock strap through this so I would not misplace this. That is a very compact hammock. It is a side entry zip, and it appears to have an internal ridge line, which this reminds me a tremendous amount of Hennessy's design. I have a Hennessy bottom entry hammock, and I really love it, and one of the things I really thought was a great feature was having that internal ridge line. That ridge line looks to me like that's Dyneema, and it's a pretty decent size, so I would say that every bit of this hammock would rot away before the ridge line did. I can see that there are connection points all along the outer edge of the hammock, like this. That would very definitely be used for attaching your underquilt. And again, super lightweight, super soft material. And I had the experience of using what they called a snake skin with my DD hammock. It was one of the first DD hammocks that was out. It was the first one you could either use as a bivvy on the ground or set it up as a hammock. This is interesting. This is supposed to be a, well, what do we have here? I have two. How does that work? There was no directions whatsoever with any of these items. None were in the box that I could see. I'll take that back. The tarp had directions and a couple other little things, but nothing for the sleeves. So that's a little something I'll need to figure out here in just a minute. The tarp also has the double entry stuff bag. And like I said, the hammock also came with shock cords, And what those would do is they go out on either side of the tarp in the center and anchor out, so that way it's always open, so you don't have to sit in it, separate it to make certain you're in it before you get in. I've had some mishaps for not doing that. Okay, got, I'm not going to unroll the whole thing. I want you to see a couple things right off the bat. The webbing that's sewn on there, look how that's sewn on. Right off the bat, I'm impressed. That is an excellent sewing job. And there are shock cord connectors. And there was some hardware on this real quick. No, I guess there wasn't. It's just shock cord attached on some of the corners of the tarp. And there's something hard in the center. I guess I am going to go full whip. Okay, tent stakes. That feels like there's carabiners in there. Nothing else there. We're going to take a look and see what's in the little tent stake bag. Got some very, very bright ridge line. And put that there. I won't be using that. And we have some tent stakes. 4 of those. We have some extra bungee cord with plastic hook clips. And I have a mini carabiner. I got 2 of these as a special gift for purchasing so many items. I got 2 of them. I bet you're jealous. Okay, what else we have? Oh, we have some tensioners. Yeah, 3 fancy dancy tensioners. I don't know if that's coming in focus or not, but there we go. Another carabiner. And some more stuff in the bottom of the bag. And another tensioner and 2 carabiners. So 4 of the mini carabiners. They appear to be aluminum. And the tensioner, which is also anodized aluminum. Now these were a couple items that really intrigued me. I had actually used a net mesh hammock. One of the first times I went out hammock camping, I had that thing, and it's absolutely horrible to try to sleep in. But I rigged it loosely underneath my hammock, and I used it to put stuff in. It wasn't great. But then again, the hammock wasn't a great hammock to begin with. So this one is the Peak Gear Loft. And there's elastic around the top here. And there's tie-off points to where you can tie it onto your ridge line. And you just slide that up into the peak on the ridge line on inside the hammock, because it has a built-in ridge line. And you can put all of your personal items in here so they don't get lost. They don't fall out of your pockets if you wear pants in your hammock. Then the other one is just a larger version of that. And this can also be used as a chair. The stuff sack is attached, and it's just a miniature hammock. You could also be a toddler hammock for that matter, very easily. And they actually use 550 cord on this. And it's just an awesome little thing to hang under your hammock to put your boots in, especially if you're in a torrential downpour. You may not like the idea, the possibility of critters crawling in your boots, something like that. Something like this is going to come in pretty handy. Now, my girth, I don't know how well it's going to work as a hammock chair, but I'm going to try it. And as a matter of fact, all of this stuff, I'm going to really put it through its paces with the remainder of summer that I have left. And it comes with a little tensioner, just like we got with the tarp. Now this is the large double entry stuff sack. I just threw the bottom quilt in there, As you can tell, this is way too big for the bottom quilt. With this, I could probably easily get the top quilt and the bottom quilt in with it, but it has draw cord and cord locks on both ends. And the one thing that I think is really interesting about this is that normally a stuff sack, a compression sack, all of your poles like this are all on the same side. You have it down and you pull it up all the way around and it cinches. This one here, there's two, one on opposite sides, and then the other two pull the other way. I thought that was an interesting idea, and I don't know if it's more efficient, but we're definitely going to find out. But the medium one would probably be a much better fit for this. I just grabbed one and threw it in there. This is super lightweight. It's got to be sil nylon, and when you pick it up, if it weren't for the plastic buckles, it would feel like you're holding a handful of cellophane. It's so lightweight. Now the last item I'm going to show you is the Ridgeline reel. The Ridgeline is using Dyneema cordage. It's already got a knot on it, and it comes with 3 Prusik knots already attached, and one of those has a copy of one of the Night Eyes. It's a tie-off point. I forget exactly what they call it, but it's a way to tie off a section of cordage. On the reel, you have a little aluminum D-ring, little carabiner. Don't know how effective that's going to be holding the strength of the tarp or not, but you simply pull out the ridge line to deploy it, and it appears that there's a couple hooks here. Again, we're going to have to read the directions on this, but when you detach everything from the trees, you simply reel it in like a fishing reel, and it's that. Now, right off the bat, this looks to me to be very cheaply made. That's just like, so I don't know how durable this is going to be, and I have no idea how well it's going to work, but like I said, we're going to find out. Now I'm going to go and start setting all this stuff up, and as soon as I've got all the hammock stuff up, some of the accessories, I'm going to show you that. Then I'll drape the tarp, stretch it out, and we'll talk about that. Now I've slung the underquilt and the top quilt is inside of it. I thought perhaps that because there were hooks on the hammock that they would hook into the underquilt. However, the little teeny tiny D-rings that are here that looks like it would attach there, I tried to attach one and it broke. I mean, right off the bat it broke. And I don't think that's a very good design. I will probably replace these D-rings. Just go ahead and cut them off and put a little piece of bungee cord in there if that's the way it's supposed to be. There are snaps all the way around the underquilt. I believe that's only to snap it together so you could actually use it as like a wraparound for warmth insulation. A very, very, very narrow sleeping bag. I call them 3/4 sleeping bags because I can't button them around, snap them around my shoulders. It's just too narrow. The underquilt has 3 bungee cords, one in the center, 2 on the side that go up to carabiner that clips in to your lines here. I'm going to go ahead and try it out, see how it lays when I get in it. If it still wraps around me and stuff, I'm not going to have any problem with it. If not, I'm probably going to have to detach them from the hammock straps and attach them to the ridge line. But this will suffice. I'm a little ignorant as to how I need to go about attaching this, if by any chance this is supposed to attach to this particular model of hammock. All things that I'm going to have to figure out as I go, but I'll have them all figured out before I do the whole setup video. Let's check out that little ridgeline. Well, I figured out the ridgeline reel, and it was remarkably easy to figure out and very easy to use. With the strength of the Dyneema line, it's I think about a strength of like 200 pounds is its limit. It went up pretty easy, and we'll just see how well it does. I'm going to be putting it up, taking it down quite a bit, probably before I get around to filming the video on it, and we'll just see what kind of longevity and durability this thing has. I'm going to go ahead and drape the tarp and get it stretched out. I've got the tarp up, and I was just lucky enough to have enough space between the trees to get that thing stretched out along the ridge line. And the reason being is the way the ridge line reel attaches to the tree. When it comes around, it sticks out with a triangular connection point. And what I failed to do was to slide the prusik knots beyond where that is going to go, so I could have the prusik knot closer to the tree than outside of that connection point. But I was able to just get enough room in there. I want to take it down and redo that and see if that theory works. But the tarp is up. And now in this particular configuration, it is hexagonal. However, it doesn't have to be. You can have a full rectangular large tarp coverage. The reason it's like this right now is because the corner webbing loops are connected to bungee cords on either side, and they are stretched underneath the tarp like this, and it comes with little miniature carabiners, and you attach them together like that up underneath. So especially in the summer months, you have a lot of airflow, but enough protection from light rain and dew, and just as a little more comfortable to sleep under in the warmer months. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to use it in this configuration during the summer. I'm going to use the inner two webbing loops with the guy lines. However, I am going to attach guy lines to the corner webbing loops as well, and I'm going to pre-position and mark very well tent stakes for me to be able to take my ridge line or my guy line to. I already have pre-tied taut line hitch knots on those, so I can just drape it over and tension it down in case there is a heavy rain. That way I'll be able to protect myself from all of the mist blowing in up underneath of it. And then when it stops raining, the weather's good again, put them back together under the tarp, and I'm ready for warm weather camping again. So far, first impressions, I'm at about an 80% positive feeling about everything. Before I get any better feeling with it, I really need to go through and really look at all of these items. I need to look to see how well they're made. I need to practice setting these things up in different ways. I need to practice tearing them down, set them up. I need to take them home when they're wet, see how I'm going to be able to hang them. If there's anything different at all than what I'd be doing with my other hammock camping stuff, I'm going to be going through all of that within the next few days. And when I make my individual shorter videos, I'll do one on the hammock setup. I'll go through all the specs and everything with that. I'll be doing one with top quilt and bottom quilt, and by that point I should be able to get some answers to questions I have about attachment of that particular underquilt to that particular hammock, and have those available for you. And as of right now, I've got a few ideas in mind of what I'm going to do with those connection points that don't exactly line up to the little fragile plastic D-rings. I'll have all that figured out before I do the video. And then of course we'll do tarpon accessories with that. And by that point I will have been able to use them quite a few times, so I can see exactly how much weight is practical for using them, whether or not it was just a frivolous idea at the time, or whether or not they're absolutely awesome pieces of kit to take with you in the woods. Well folks, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.